Happy December, everybody. The year's almost up. I can't even believe it. Christmas is right around the corner, so this will be the last set of Christmas cards that I'm making. It's so sad. So my sweet treats this month, I am using Carols of Christmas, and but if you choose not to use that set, you can easily switch out the sentiments for something else in your stash. This set is on the year-end inventory list. It doesn't look like it's going to carry, it's not on the carryover list, so if you do like this and want to use it for your Christmas cards this year or save it for next year's, you do want to get it before the end of the year because it's not going to be carried over. The set, the Thinlit, you know, is very easily used for cards, I think, for year-round. And that's why I decided to use it for this month's sweet treats, because these little trees and the little deers here, I think can very easily, in the little night sky, could be very easily used for any time of the year. So that's why I decided to go ahead and use it for this month's sweet treats. Because you can stamp anything on the label or the part. So, and even the paper, I'm using paper from Quilted set, which, you know, that can, I mean, the colors are Christmassy, but you don't have to use it for that. And this particular, now, depending on, I will admit, some of the papers do, I'm going to be using, do have more of a Christmas theme, so, but both sides, there's two different sides to the paper, so some sides have Christmas, some don't. So, going to get started right away here. I also have a pad that comes with our paper piercer, and I really like stamping on this, so that's why I have that out. So we're going to get started. I want to start by using my Big Shot with the I'm going to show you the, oops, it's moved a little bit here. So I've got the top part of the card part here. This is where we're going to cut out the top part of the, where the moon and the stars are at. So your Big Shot comes with the platform and the thin die adapter are separate. So you're going to put those in first, and my very well loved cutting pad there. I always try to keep one that I'm not cutting on at the top, although you will see it still gets from where you're pressing down. So I always use, and then when I switch out, that becomes my bottom plate. And I have a clean one for the top one. I'm going to set that to the side here, and this is what now has become, just pull that off, and so now I have nice little holes in my top. So this is one I'm using, and so with my sweet treats, some people may get holly. I have some out here that I've saved so that when you get used, some people might get trees, holly, and then the wave pattern. But the other sides, the quilted, this is all from the quilted paper, so if you want to use the other side, you can. So we're going to use our little embossing buddy to just swerve, take the static clean off of that. And we're going to use a Versamark pad because we're going to emboss. And I have one of my grid sheets here folded so that we can get that saved. And I'm using the Peace on Earth. just use the Versamark really nice there. And I'm going to go towards the top a little bit. Don't press too terribly hard because you want the little white to show up in the middle, but I want a nice. And then I have white embossing powder. Let me cover my Versamark up because I really don't want white powder on my Versamark. And then just sprinkle that down. Give it a little flick. And I'm going to set that aside. Move my embossing powder. Got my handy dandy heat tool. I always like to go from the underside first, just to warm up my paper. And then you will see the white start to turn glossy. When it turns glossy, then it is done. And that is, you can see there. I'm gonna set that aside. So the rest of the card is pretty easy. We're just gonna fold our vanilla paper in half. Let me see where my bone folder is here. And then I'm using the champagne foil paper, which I did see on the carryover list. So glad to have seen that. I love this champagne color. Don't know why I'm having difficulties with my tape runner here. And my champagne, so my card is A2, 5.5 by 8.5, and my champagne is 4 by 5.25. And then my other paper is just shy. I did not go a full 1/4 inch. I went like an 1/8 less. Now, I'm not putting tape at the top where the holes are at because I don't want tape coming through the holes. So that one. So what I do want to have is so I can see if I can get my little glue dotty here. I like to take just a glue dot to the corner so that way the corners will stay down. And not stick up. but that way it's not. Now, I took 2 pieces of Whisper White and I just literally took my scissors and freehand cut scallops. Just to make little slopes of snow. And I did 2 of them so that it could be layered. And then of course you gotta have dimensionals. Must have some dimensionals, right? So I have both some minis and some regular. I love these little mini dots, but of course you can cut your big ones in half if you don't have them. But they are super cute. And then these little deers are so sweet looking. Although I think the mini's even a little, I think I might have had to trim the mini because it's still a little bit big for the deer. There we go. That is super easy to do there. That's the one card down. Now, the next one, we are going to use the embossing folder for the quilted top and use the Big Shot, but this time you're not going to use the thin adapter. You're going to take the thin adapter out, put in a bottom plate, put your pick cardstock in your embossing folder, then put top plate and run it through. Okay. And then when you pull it out, you're going to have one that's really rough and one that's really soft. So, you, depending on which side you want, I'm going to use the rough side for my top. Again, I'm using Very Vanilla as my base, 5.5 by 8.5. I have Real Red, which is 2 3/4 wide. And then I have the quilt top is 2.5. And I put these two together. They're both 5 1/4. I'm using the quilted Christmas ribbon, and I'm taking some tape here, putting it across the middle. I'm putting lots of tape. Anytime you have an embossed folder, you want to make sure you put lots of good tape on that piece, because it won't stick very well. Sometimes you can use fast fuse also, because it's extra strong. Now, for this one, I'm going to use Real Red. And I've punched out from the labels dies. Using these labels dies, and I've used this particular label. So just make sure my deck the holes. And of course you can't see through here very well, but this is fairly, just make sure it's nice and even pressure here. There we go. Just fan that off a little bit. Get some more dimensionals, of course. Now, what I thought I would do is take, this is White Perfect Accents. These are like little dots. And our Stampin' Blend new alcohol markers. You can color these. So oops. It will wipe off though with your thumb, if you get your thumb in there. Don't let it dry. I think let it dry, not put your thumb on it right away. So now if you use the regular markers, it won't work. You can't use the you can't use these markers, the Stampin' Right. You have to use the alcohol-based markers. Then I'm going to take another little piece of the ribbon here and just tie a little bow. Well, actually not. You could tie a bow, I guess, and put it on there if you want. And there you go. Those are the two cards. I just had the other one. I don't know where I can. Oh, 4 cards. So that's our sweet treats for the month of December. Remember, any customer who orders $25 or more off my store, shannasweets.stampinup.net, will get the card sets to make these 2 cards. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email me anytime. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like or subscribe to the video. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Bye.